The story begins as the main character opens his eye, and he beholds an unfamiliar young woman, so he wonders if she is his mother. As he watches as a status window appears, he notes he doesn't have a name. An old man approaches him, and the woman addresses him as Your Majesty, so he wonders if he is an emperor. The emperor names him Noah Ararat, and announces he bears the title of 13th Imperial Prince. The priest informed the emperor Noah possesses water affinity, so the emperor declares his fief will be Amlyria, a land where the Water Clan reside. Noah observes a title of Imperial Prince materialize on his status window, and values he had never seen before. The emperor then desires to assess his skill, so the priest casts a spell on Noah, and his status window appears in front of everyone. Noah realizes his water level has increased to SS, and everyone is amazed since no one reached that level at that age. Noah is now 6 years old. He knows he is reincarnated in Mir's empire. He discovers his status window appears normal to everyone else, but only he can see it has unique values. He becomes stronger by acquiring more subordinates and territory, gaining the S to his water attribute when he was granted Almeria, and his level can be raised infinitely. His maids change his clothes, and he proceeds to the dining room for breakfast. His maid Evelyn informs the Crown Prince and Fourth Prince have arrived for a visit. So he immediately departs since he doesn't want to keep the Crown Prince waiting for him. Noah greets his brother the Crown Prince, and the Fourth Prince tells him he is courteous as ever. The Crown Prince remarks he will be a great chancellor one day, and Noah promises to strive to achieve that. The prince informs him they brought a present for him, and Noah sees a terrified servant carrying a box, which emits a mysterious dark aura, so he wonders what it is. As the servant opened the box, Noah felt the screams of many people drowning in that aura. Noah sees a mysterious sword in that box, and he is ordered by the prince to pick it up. Noah senses the sword is dangerous, but he cannot refuse the Crown Prince's gift, so he lifts the sword and nothing happens. The prince then informs him it's called Leviathan, the strongest water sword in the empire, and 120 people died trying to master it. The Fourth Prince adds that those not meant to wield it are killed instantly by its curse, and even carrying the box is agonizing for most people. The Crown Prince tells Noah it was a valuable demonstration, and he departs with his entourage. Noah realizes the prince risked his life for this test, but he knows he cannot protest. Noah perceives his maid Zoe is unhappy about something, so he asks her for the reason. She tells him there was a flood in her hometown Dasso, and her mother has been rendered unemployed, so her relatives are asking her to work in the red light district. So Noah tells her he will employ her mother as in charge of locking the gate, and pay her 10 ream per month. But Zoe tells him it's too much pay for a job she never heard of, and Noah informs her they can live in his house on the outskirts of the capital. Zoe kneels in gratitude as she thanks him, and Noah thinks his reputation will be ruined if he allows his servant to work in the red light district. He summons his servant Dylan, and orders him to purchase all the land in Dasso, as he worries scammers will con the people who have lost their livelihoods like Zoe's mother. Noah observes Zoe is staring at him, so he asks her the reason, and she tells him she is surprised how well he handled the situation without any experience. Noah knows he cannot tell her about his reincarnation, and Dylan ponders how to procure funds, as he estimates he would require 700,000 rein. Noah calculates his household has about 50,000 rein to work with, so he decides to sell his land for the remaining 20,000 rein. But Dylan tells him it was a gift from the emperor, and selling it without his permission would be a crime against the imperial family. But Noah refuses to change his mind, and he tells them he is willing to sacrifice himself to fulfill his duty as a noble. So Dylan expresses his thanks, and Noah recalls Dylan also originates from the same area. The next day, as Noah's servants prepare his carriage, he hears the voice of the Fourth Prince, Henry, so he immediately moves to greet him. Henry inquires where Noah is going, so he informs him why he is going to Dasso. Henry notices the magic sword in his carriage, so he asks if he is planning to use it. Noah tells him he is carrying it just as a test. Henry reveals he conducted some research on the sword, and he warns it only obeys the one it recognizes as its master. So Noah realizes he must earn its recognition, and Henry departs as he warns him not to use that sword. They arrive at Daso, and Noah perceives most of the homes must have lost their land deeds, so he orders Dylan to go to the government office, since they now need the purchase record of land. Noah then begins inspecting the damage to the land, and he notes the root vegetables have already begun to rot. Zoe tells him it is dangerous for him to venture this far, but he tells her he would sneak out if she stops him. They observe the Empire is distributing food, so Noah approaches to examine the food quality, and he finds they are distributing the spoiled food. An old man tells him they shouldn't complain about it, but Noah cannot believe the Empire would distribute spoiled rations. He observes a local government official, Geralt, arriving to inspect the food, but he approves it even though it smells bad, and his men inform him his portion is ready in the mansion. Noah accuses him of accepting kickbacks, so Geralt tells him they are working hard for the people, and taking a little in return is a privilege afforded to them. But Noah declares it's a crime, so Geralt assaults him with his sword. Noah pronounces Geralt's death penalty, and the magic sword flies into his hand. He commands the sword to show him its power, but the sword attempts to drown him with its water magic. But Noah manages to grasp its handle, and he orders it to obey him. Noah severs Geralt's head from his body, so his servants try to apprehend him. But he strikes the ground with the sword to stop them, and it creates a massive hole. So Noah senses the sword possesses insane power. Knight Captain Rowan arrives to investigate the situation, and Geralt's men tell him Noah murdered Geralt. But Rowan recognizes who Noah is, and he immediately moves to greet him. Rowan tells him he serves Prince Henry, and he was recently appointed to this region. He announces to everyone Noah is a prince, so all of them bow down in respect. Noah orders Rowan to punish Geralt's men, and provide the people better food, so the people there begin praising his name. The first prince hears Noah succeeded in wielding the sword, so he thinks he will be more useful than he thought. Noah is summoned by the emperor, and the emperor tells him he received a report that he sold his gift to purchase a village, and Noah believes he will face punishment. But the emperor thanks him, as he knows Noah prevented the food scam, and he inquires how he learned of this. So Noah tells him about what happened with Zoe, and the emperor tells him he knows he mastered the water sword. So he requests to see Noah's abilities again, and the priest casts a spell on him. They note Noah now possesses one more S to his water attribute, so the emperor asks Noah to always aid him with his ability, and Noah delightfully replies he will. Noah arrives at Raid Street, as he has heard about a popular singer there. He enters the theater with Zoe to see her. As the girl, Alaki, begins to sing a song, Noah observes she sings earnestly and takes it seriously, but her technique has room for improvement. Noah sees some goons shout at her to stop singing, and they order her to sell her body to pay her dad's debt. No one in the crowd attempts to stop them, so Noah commands them to stop harassing her, and reminds them it's illegal to make children assume their parents' debt. When the goon tries to harm Noah, he strikes them with the magic power of his sword. The attack frightened them, and they fled the theater. Noah instructs the theater owner to inform him if they return, and Zoe gives him Noah's contact card, so the crowd realizes he is a prince. Noah inquires about Alaki's monthly living expenses. She states she has an ailing mother to take care of, so Noah offers her 25 rein per month for singing, and he will increase it as she improves. Alaki bows in gratitude. Noah returns to his mansion, and he spots those goons outside his gate. His maid informs him they came to apologize to him, but Noah refuses to see them. Henry tells him he made a wise decision, since granting an audience to men like them would devalue his standing. But Noah explains he has another reason. He wants them to believe he is still angry at them, so they would stop bothering Alaki. Henry states he is impressed he could reason that far at his age, since Frank and Gary don't think that way despite their similar age. Noah notes Gary and Frank are his brothers from different mothers, but Henry and Gary are blood brothers, so they have a different sort of connection. Henry informs Noah he heard he has mastered the magic sword, so Noah confirms it does have its own will. Henry wonders how he carries it around, so Noah draws it out as it was hidden in his sleeve. Noah then shrinks its size to the palm of his hand. Henry thinks this is unprecedented, since there is no record of this happening for the past many centuries, and he declares him just too amazing. Noah and Henry walk outside, and they spot the goons still waiting for Noah. But their leader bellows at Noah for ignoring them, so Noah unleashes a bit of the sword's power to threaten them, and Henry is astounded Noah brought the sword completely under control. Noah expresses his gratitude to noble Radok for inviting him to his party. Radok escorts him inside the party hall, and the crowd greets him by clapping their hands. Radok inquires about what he is carrying on his waist. Noah explains it's called Leviathan, and the crowd is surprised since it's the national treasure. But one of them calls it a fake replica, and Noah doesn't like it, so the sword releases its aura around the crowd. Noah observes everyone screaming in pain, so he commands it to stop. Radok informs him he is impressed since Noah controls the national treasure's overwhelming power, and he mentions they all experienced a near-death moment. They all praise Noah for that, and they begin introducing themselves to him. A trader named Byron Allen expresses his delight in meeting him, and he introduces his daughter Cindy to him. Noah tells him he has adopted the girl, and Byron wonders how he can tell. So Noah states he has the bearing of someone born into high rank, but his daughter lacks that. He also explains he took a former slave as his daughter, since she gave him an inquiring look when she felt flustered. Byron confirms Noah is right, and reveals he has been teaching her as his adopted daughter. Noah expresses interest in hearing more about it, and he invites them to his mansion. As Byron and Cindy depart, Noah informs Radok he knows another reason she is not his daughter. He unleashes an aura in their direction, and Cindy moves to shield Byron. Noah notes she's been doing that since the sword first released its aura. Noah visits the market in their town, and he meets the 8th Prince Oscar. Oscar inquires where Noah is going without a carriage. Noah states he is merely taking a stroll, so Oscar suggests a treasure hunt. He escorts him to a famous antiques market, and Noah begins searching for something to buy. He purchases a blue grimoire, and Oscar informs him it's the grimoire of the legendary sorcerer Andrea. Oscar asks how he knew what it was. Noah admits he didn't. But he observes a plus was added to his win status when he touched the grimoire, and only beings with their own will can do that. So he draws out his sword to attack it, and it begins emitting a dark aura. As a mysterious dark figure materializes in front of them, Oscar informs him it's the spirit of the great sorcerer who mastered the wind. So Noah attacks the spirit with his magic sword, and the spirit vanishes from their eyes. Oscar questions if Noah's attack inflicted any damage. Noah states he aimed upward, so Oscar ponders how he became so strong. A merchant named Alan approaches them, mentioning he runs an antique shop, and he invites them to see an interesting article. They agree to check it out, and Alan presents a ring to them. He explains it will show its true form when its true owner appears. But until now it has never responded to anyone, so Noah wonders if it's trash. Alan explains it always reappears whenever he throws it in the trash. So Noah slides it onto his finger, and the ring begins to glow. A voice emanates from it, declaring it recognizes him as its owner. The ring then transforms into its true form, a suit of armor. Noah observes it doesn't change his status, so he concludes it's a different sort of being than that grimoire or Leviathan. Noah chooses to buy it, and Oscar insists on paying for it, since he wishes to present it as a gift. The carriage reaches Noah's mansion. As Noah alights from it, the goon attempts a sneak attack, but the sword deflects the attack with a shield created by the ring. The carriage rider restrains the goon, and Oscar inquires how Noah generated that shield. Noah explains the sword reacted to his hostility with automatic defense, and Oscar finds him incredible to have mastered it already. Noah visits the theater for Alaki's performance, and he finds some drunk men harassing her. They are brawling over her, so Noah intervenes, and he shocks them with his sword. They flee from the theater. The owner apologizes for being unable to stop them, explaining that customers like them sustain his business. Noah resolves to purchase his business, and he instructs Zoe to provide the payment. Alaki inquires how she can repay him, and he advises her to keep improving her singing, since he hopes the Emperor will hear her someday. Alaki vows to devote herself for him. Noah's maid informs him Governor General Dead Marley arrives to visit him, so he commands her to admit him inside. Dead kneels before Noah as he greets him, and Noah directs him to take a seat. Noah inquires if they have met before, and Dead states he introduced himself to him when he assumes the position of Governor General. Noah recalls he was commanded to oversee flood control in Holdjoy, and he perceives by the look on his face it isn't progressing well. So Noah asks what problems he is encountering, and Dead explains they have not received any funding. But Noah believes they must have received money since it is an imperial decree. So Dead explains the Home Ministry repeatedly offers excuses, so Noah leads him to the Finance Minister's residence. Noah confronts Finance Minister Maverick, asking why he is withholding their funds, and Maverick offers a vague answer. So Noah insists on a clear answer, and Maverick reveals Holly experiences flood damage yet again last year, and the Emperor bestows upon them a tax exemption for the whole year. Maverick intends for Holdjoy to utilize that leftover tax money for flood relief. But Noah declares he suspects he is undermining him, since the Emperor exempts taxes because they possess no money to render. So Noah demands to know again if he is undermining him, and Maverick assures him he is not. He launches into an explanation that he cannot dispatch the money right now, as he plans to construct a royal villa for the Emperor so he can recuperate, and that requires a vast amount of money. Dead fears they will not obtain money since Maverick invokes the Emperor's name, but he is astonished when Noah commands Maverick to be silent. Noah declares he is committing a grave crime against the royal family, and he states his reason for not providing the money is insulting to the Emperor. So Maverick immediately kneels as he pleads for forgiveness, and he promises he will supply Holdjoy with funding right away. Dead applauds Noah for compelling the finance minister to submit without raising a finger, and he confesses he is ashamed for placing him in this position. Noah recognizes Dead attempts to use him to enforce his demands, but he observes now he chooses to prostrate himself before him. Dead heads to Holdjoy after obtaining the funds, and a messenger notifies Noah the Emperor summons him. So he immediately visits his father, and the Emperor commends Noah for how he manages Maverick. So Noah is surprised how quickly he discovers that, and he assures him he only executes what anyone should have. But the Emperor remarks not many people can execute the right thing with natural ease, and it is more noteworthy for a boy of his age. The Emperor then observes Leviathan seems smaller as he obtains reports, and Noah realizes he knows since his mansion is also within the Emperor's information network. The Emperor states it's remarkable he fully commands the dark magic sword, and Noah recalls it would have killed everyone back then if he hadn't halted it. The Emperor informs him he has summoned a sword instructor for him, and the kingdom's greatest swordsman Damien presents himself to Noah. The Emperor directs Noah to study under him, and Damien proposes about right away to assess his aptitude. The Emperor grants him permission, and Noah notices Damien clearly possesses the trust of his father. As they commence their bout, Noah senses the memories of all Leviathan's past owners rushing through him, and he effortlessly disarms him. So Damien declares to the Emperor he has nothing to impart to Noah, since he is certain Noah already possesses master-level swordsmanship skill. So the Emperor proclaims Noah is truly impressive, and he appoints him the head judge in this year's knight selection exam. Noah bows as he vows to complete this task, and he wears a smile on his face. He knows the first job of a new knight is to become a subordinate of the head judge, and he will grow even stronger by his service. Noah requests the Emperor to abolish regional preliminaries, and conduct all judging in the capital before his eyes. The Emperor inquires why he desires to do that, and he explains he doesn't want any talented candidate to be barred for arbitrary reasons. So the Emperor approves the permission, and he returns to his mansion. Noah asks Zoe if people from her village are entering the knight selection exam, and she explains they nominate only one villager every year for the exam. So he states now they can send more as he abolishes regional preliminaries. But she explains they cannot cover travel and lodging expenses of more than one, and it requires collective donations from all of them just to send one. So Noah assures her he will fund all travel and lodging expenses for every candidate, but Zoe fears it will require a great deal of money. So he commands Dylan to purchase all the vacant houses in the capital, and organize a meeting with merchants for food arrangements. Noah summons merchant Byron he had met before, and he observes he is incurring a deficit as he examines his bill for the meals. Byron explains he is making the sacrifice because it is a request from the 13th prince. But Noah reminds him merchants don't donate money just for compassion. So Noah demands to know what he desires from him, and he reveals he wants to discover what sorts of people are hired in the palace employment exam. So Noah deduces he intends to install a girl in the palace, so he would be the first to receive any new important information. Byron mentions he has already sent a token of gratitude to his mansion, so Noah consents to recommend a girl he approves. Byron then kneels as he praises his kindness and keen perception, and he requests permission to affix his house crest to his store sign. So Noah warns he will not tolerate betrayal, and he agrees to grant him permission. Noah notes acquiring Byron as a subordinate boosts his stats, and he observes his water stat suddenly drops, so he speculates if something has transpired in Almeria. Noah immediately departs to see the emperor, and he queries the emperor about any development in Almeria as he meets him. So the emperor states he merely observes some signs, and the priest whispers something in his ear. The emperor then announces there has been a rebellion in Almeria, and he inquires how large Noah believes it is. Noah observes his stat only declines by 1 rank out of several, so he asserts it is small in scope at the moment. The emperor confirms he is right about it, and he asks if Noah wishes to quash it himself. But Noah states he lacks any combat experience, and he is uncertain soldiers will heed him. So he proposes dispatching one of his older brothers, and the emperor remarks Noah evaluates the situation objectively before declining. But he consents to dispatch another prince, and Noah suggests he believes Henry is the best choice, and the emperor summons Henry to issue his commands. They travel towards Almeria to suppress the rebellion, and Henry tells him this could have been his chance to gain an achievement. But Noah explains he is inadequately prepared for such sudden deployment. Leviathan detects hostility from people nearby, so Noah commands everyone to halt the carriage. He leaps from the carriage as he wishes Henry not to intervene, and rebels attempt to ensnare him with their water magic. But Noah shields himself with his automatic defense shields, and he observes he is encircled by a group of Almerian rebels. So he vanquishes every single one of them with his sword. Henry hopes they could have interrogated them if they were alive, so Noah explains he does not kill them, but he utilizes Leviathan's power to render them unconscious, since he knows people like these are inclined to kill themselves. Noah notes these rebels are cavalrymen, and he knows Almeria does not possess a strong reserve of war horses. So Noah summons Byron to his mansion, and he informs him about the rebellion in Almeria. He commands Byron to procure all the horse feed in Almeria immediately, and Byron inquires if he should acquire standard rations as well. But Noah explains they do not require that, since he knows the war horses are not bred in Almeria, so the rebels will not find any horse feed for their horses. Byron understands Noah intends to compel the rebel to plunder horse feed from citizens, and he immediately departs as he recognizes how brilliant his plan is. The emperor informs Noah that they interrogated the assassins, and they disclose the rebels were trying to kidnap him as a bargaining chip. But Noah suspects the assassin is lying, so the emperor promises him they possess ways to discover if they are, and Noah chooses to accept his word. The emperor explains to Noah that his capture would have compelled the empire to face a difficult choice, and he commends him for targeting their horses. Noah is stunned, as he just issued the order to purchase all the feed. The emperor tells him the second crown prince proposed starving the rebels, but he applauds Noah for realizing rebels might attack common citizens to seize food. He asserts that Noah's ideas and ability to execute them are impressive, so he intends to reward him somehow, and he authorizes the addition of a sword to Noah's crest. Noah is astonished to learn this, since this counts among the greatest honors one may earn in the empire, and adding this without his permission results in death. Noah expresses gratitude for the honor with a proud expression on his face. Noah returns to his mansion, and Byron mentions it will not be difficult to purchase all the feed. But he cautions Noah that the rebel leader Carfin will attempt anything to achieve his goals. Noah's maid reports that a wounded man desires to deliver an urgent report, so Noah walks to the gate to meet him. The man states he serves as a decurion in Almeria, and a rebellion erupted in Almeria. Byron considers him unlucky since Noah already knew about it, but Noah commands his maid to present him a reward of 1,000 rein. Byron asks Noah why he is awarding so much money for information he already had, and Noah explains that a mere decurion risked his life to notify him, so he judges him worthy of a high reward. Noah observes Zoe wearing a worried expression on her face, so he inquires about the reason for it. She hands him a pouch of 500 rein, and explains someone gave her money for making him ingest this sleeping drug. Noah suspects it was the rebels, and he asks her why she brought this to him. Zoe explains she could not betray him since he assisted her mother, but they threatened to kill her if she refused to obey orders. Noah assures her he understands the predicament she faced, and he offers her a reward of 5,000 rein for her loyalty. Noah urges her to accept it when she tries to refuse, and she thanks him for his kindness. Noah then informs her he will drink the drug, and he instructs her to lead him to them when he falls asleep. He warns her to flee immediately after that, as he fears they will murder her if she stays nearby. Noah wakes as he catches the voices of his captors, and he realizes he is secured by his hands and feet. He resizes Leviathan, which he had concealed under his ears, and he notices they omitted taking his ring. He employs the ring's power to sever the ropes tying him. Noah then commands Leviathan to replay his memories, and Leviathan displays everything that occurred after he consumed the drug. Zoe fled after abandoning him with the rebels, and they transported him outside the city in a wagon. Noah emerges from the wagon to confront them, and he immediately slays one of the rebels. All the other rebels unsheathe their swords at him to fight, but Noah easily vanquishes all of them with his sword, and he sees Zoe accompanying a group of knights in his direction for help. Noah inquires what she is doing here, and she explains she came to rescue him since she was worried. They are amazed he defeated them all by himself, and Noah commands the knight captain to dispose of the rebels' bodies. As the knight performs this, a sword drops from the rebel's dead body. Noah immediately warns everyone to retreat, since he senses it holds a curse on it, and he knows it's infused with the hatred of the one who placed it there. Noah commands Leviathan to strike the person who cast the curse, and Leviathan launches a beam of dark energy towards the sky, and it returns to hit the person responsible for the curse. Noah meets with the Emperor to attend his summon, and the Emperor commends him for how he handled the situation. He informs Noah that the rebel leader was assassinated by a pillar of water last night, so he asks Noah if he achieved that with his magic sword. Noah admits he did that, as he recalls he used the hatred in the dagger to direct Leviathan's shot to the rebel leader. He felt relieved it worked. The rebels were then crushed by the fourth Prince Henry, and they detained all those involved in planning the uprising. The servant requests the Emperor's ruling in determining their punishment, and he announces they will be executed by being drawn and quartered. Everyone in the hall applauds his decision as brilliant, but Noah kneels and objects, stating he must not proceed with that. Everyone becomes uneasy, and the Emperor demands to know what Noah means in an angry voice. Noah explains they must face punishment according to the imperial law, and violating the law will dismantle the Emperor's supremacy. Everyone stares at Noah as they perspire nervously, and Noah implores the Emperor to re-examine his decision. The Emperor acknowledges Noah's logic is valid, and he succeeded in catching him in his mistake. He then commands First Prime Minister Noisehill to penalize the rebels according to the imperial law, and Noisehill confirms it will be done. Noah draws the eyes of everyone for chiding the Emperor, and they acclaim him as a gift from the heavens. The Emperor wishes to reward Noah for preventing him from tarnishing the Empire's name, so he bestows him the title of Wise. Noah observes his title has changed to Wise Prince in the status window. The Emperor states that if he had been born a bit earlier, and the crowds cheered for him as they heard that. The Emperor then inquires how he plans to conduct the knight selection exam, and Noah promises him he will demonstrate it after this. Noah prepares a demonstration for the Emperor, as he positions himself among servants while he sits at a table, and every servant holds a bucket of water in their hands. He commands them to hurl water at him, and he deflects the water with his automatic defense shield. The Emperor is astonished by the demonstration, and Noah explains he will have participants strike him in this way, so he can assess them based on how close their attack comes to him. The Emperor notes it simplifies the judgment process for Noah, but he worries powerful contenders might breach his defense. Noah assures him he is ready to handle that, and the Emperor is impressed as he hears that, and he commends Noah for planning far ahead. Noishill mentions to the Emperor that his desire for Noah to have been born earlier before the public was a bit much, but the Emperor sees nothing wrong in that, as Noah performed many unprecedented things. As the Emperor gazes toward a wooden box, he muses that Leviathan appears to possess terrifying power. He then commands crews to retrieve something out to him, and he speculates what might occur if Noah unseals the true seal on Leviathan. Warriors from all around the Empire gather in the capital to take part in the annual exam, and they wait in queue as they are called to come forward to the stage. The warrior bows down as he greets Prince Noah, and people gathered in droves for a chance to see the famous wise prince. Noah orders the warrior to attack him as he sipped a cup of tea, and he blocks his attack with his automatic defense shield. The warrior strikes repeatedly in his attempts to pass through his defense, but he accepts his defeat when his sword breaks in two. The Emperor notes this year's examination more exciting than previous years, and he is looking forward to see which warrior Noah selects. An examinee uses magic to try to attack Noah, but it could not break through Noah's magic defense shield, and the examinee exhausts his magic, so he decides to give up. Noah notes he found no noteworthy candidates today, and he sees the last examinee for the day is a girl. So he uses his shield as the girl attacks him with her sword, but he notes the girl has managed to pierce his shield, and she breaks through his shield to hit his shoulder with her sword. She quickly apologizes after realizing what she has done, but the guards arrest her for wounding the prince. Noah orders the guards to let the girl go, and he asks her about her name. The girl tells him she is Shirley Grants, and Noah tells her she has passed the test. Noah takes Shirley to his mansion, and she asks what her punishment for wounding him is. So he tells her there is no such thing, and he orders her to use that thrust on him again. Shirley looks at him with surprise, and he tells her she needs to follow his orders like a knight. So Shirley picks up her sword to attack him, and Noah again uses his shield to stop the attack. But this time she fails to penetrate the shield, and Noah tells her he could have done this if he wanted to block the attack, as he makes it clear she didn't wound him by mistake. Shirley realizes Noah's determination was so strong, and she bows to swear her undying loyalty for the rest of her life. Noah notes he has seen this exaggerated gesture in plays, and she has raised his stats the most. Noah sees Zoe brought the Emperor's Dr. Croy with her, and Croy informs him the strike hadn't hit any vital organs as he examined the wound. Shirley finds it amazing that a wound could be treated in that way, since they don't have any doctors in their village, and Croy informs him it is common in impoverished villages. So Noah orders Shirley to bring the brightest minds of her village to him, and he requests Croy to take a few of them as his apprentices. Shirley watches him in surprise, and Noah assures her he will cover all the expenses, so she bows deeply as she thanks him for his kindness. Next morning Shirley wakes up in her personal quarters, and she gets ready to serve as a knight to Prince Noah. She encounters Zoe as she heads downstairs, and Zoe asks if she had a good sleep, so she tells her servant quarters are luxurious under a prince. They find some maids talking as they head towards the hall, so Zoe asks what they are talking about, and they tell her they were talking about their master's future bride, since it is common for princes to marry before they turn 15. So Zoe tells them it is rude to gossip about their master, but another maid tells them many young girls wait outside the mansion to see Prince Noah every day, and they ask Zoe if she loves him too. They know she has started studying magic to impress the prince, but Zoe tells them she is doing it to be useful to the master. Zoe excuses herself from the embarrassing situation, and Shirley continues to stare at her in surprise. Noah receives the report about this year's knight selection exam, and the knight commends Noah's screening method for selecting excellent knights this year. As Noah returns the papers after signing it, he orders Shirley to escort their guest out. And as Shirley does that, she kneels to thank the knight for the visit. So he tells her such formalities are unnecessary between knights, and Noah sends her to see him off as part of her training. That night Noah hosts a party to celebrate the success of the night selection exam, and he invites Aleki as she performs a song before the nobles. Byron congratulates Noah for the success of the night selection exam as he greets him, and Noah tells him he has invited merchants with deep ties to his house. So Byron assures him he will cultivate some friendships with them. Zoe brings an unknown letter addressed to him, so Noah comes out of the party hall to check what it is. Zoe tells him the one who delivered it ran away without giving any details, and she brought it as it might contain important information. Shirley warns it could be dangerous as Noah opens it, and he assures her it's all right as he checks for any danger using Leviathan's power. The letter mentions there's unsettling movement among the remnants of the Almerian rebels, and Noah believes the delivery man is the same soldier who informed about rebellion in Almeria. Zoe mentions he has learned Noah already knew about the rebellion before his warning, so Noah concludes he is investigating rebels to repay the debt. But he believes it is too dangerous for him since he has no spy training. Noah notes Henry should be near Almeria, so he orders Zoe to send a message to Henry mentioning details of rebellion. Noah receives a letter from his brother Henry, which mentions the soldier was exposed and then tortured, and they found him unconscious since he refused to talk to rebels. Noah blames himself for his condition, since he believes he could have stopped this by using his information network. Noah orders Zoe to send a message to not let that soldier die at any expense, as he is willing to bear all the expenses for his treatment, since Noah believes he cannot sacrifice such a devoted loyal man. Noah then heads to the market to buy a present for Henry, since he wants to thank him for suppressing the rebellion in his fief. He visits the same antique shop where he bought the magic ring, and the shop owner shows him a plethora of rare and luxurious items. However, an item covered with a cloth catches his eye, and he sees it's a glass statue of a woman. Noah is surprised they can make this out of glass, so the shop owner tells him it was left behind by a skilled artisan called Lindsay, and only 2 goddess statues like this still exist. So Noah bought it for 10,000 rein, and he pays substantially more than that as a reward for showing him such a fine piece. Noah then encounters his brother Oscar in the shop, and he is surprised to see the second glass statue there, as he mentions he has the first glass statue. So Noah surprises everyone as he breaks the second glass statue, and he pays extra for cleaning the mess he created, as he orders the shopkeeper to spread the rumor that the second goddess statue was found broken. Oscar notes it will greatly raise the value of his statue, and Noah remarks the fastest one to secure the treasure always wins. Oscar tells him he didn't become that smart until he was an adult with his own fief, and he left the shop. Noah then asks the owner to show him another gift, and he heads back after buying one. Noah asks Shirley what she is thinking about, and she tells him she is surprised by his decision to destroy such a treasure. So Noah tells her it was merely an object to him, and he considers hardworking, loyal, and devoted people as real treasures. And he remarks he considers her as his treasure, as he notes she has learned a lot about him in the past few days. So Shirley feels he is like a benevolent ruler she has seen in plays, and she declares she will follow him for the rest of her life. 6 years passed and Noah turned 12 years old, and we see him heading somewhere with a determined look on his face. Noah munches on lunch in his dining hall as he always does. He sees his maid Gigi seems bothered by something, and she mentions the line of people bringing gifts still hasn't ended. It has been 3 days they are bringing gifts for him. Noah points out it lasted a week on his last birthday. Receiving the gifts eats up time, since every gift needs to be recorded in detail. After lunch he heads to the Ministry of Military Affairs, where he meets with Henry, who is now a Minister of Military Affairs. Henry mentions he needs his opinion on an imperial command, which orders sending a regular army to suppress a rebellion at the southern border, and they want his knight Rice Keiki to lead the army. Noah thinks Keiki is more than talented enough to lead the army, and he asks Keiki how many soldiers he truly has. Keiki flounders to answer that question, and Henry angrily snaps for an answer. In response, Keiki begs for forgiveness, and Noah spells out generals normally register merchants as soldiers in the army, so they can receive excess funding from the ministry, and they pocket funds for themselves. Noah reckons increasing their numbers with fake soldiers can serve as a deterrent, but he knows in real battle they need real numbers. So he tells Keiki to fess up how many fake soldiers he added to the army. He admits 2,000 fake soldiers, and Noah tells him to swap them with real soldiers. Then he penned a special order, which will tack on 2,000 additional soldiers to the army he will lead. But he cautions he will not tolerate any defeat, and Henry applauds Noah for using carrot and stick successfully. As they return to their mansion in the carriages, Henry suggests picking up some experience in the war, since it will help him rule his fief Almeria. Noah says he hopes to get some experience, but he cannot take part in war without the Emperor's orders. They have to stop their carriage, as a girl suddenly leaps on the path. The girl pleads for their help, as more kids trail behind her, who are fleeing from some men. Noah figures the men are slave traders, so he tells them to flash their business registration, warning them unregistered slave trading counts as a serious crime. But they try to jump him, and Noah wipes them out with his magic sword. Then their leader steps out of hiding, and he claims to Noah he works for the first Prince Gilbert. Noah realizes he is warning him not to meddle, since he has the backing of Prince Gilbert. The leader demands Noah to turn over the kids to him, but Noah thinks this will tarnish his name among the public, and he doesn't want to make the first prince his enemy. So Noah quickly unleashes Leviathan's power to make the leader unconscious, and announces to the crowd he falsely claimed to serve the first prince. The crowd buys his words, and he tells servants to haul these men to first Prince Gilbert. Henry applauds Noah for how he dealt with the situation, and Noah explains he couldn't off those men since they may be Gilbert's men, so he had Gilbert deal with them himself. Noah opts to bring the kids to his mansion, and sometime later, Noah gets a message from Gilbert, which claims the slave traders killed themselves when he was questioning them. Noah reckons Gilbert directs them to manage the underground slave trade. He won't get the throne since he is only a son of a concubine, so he resorts to this in his frustration. Henry is stunned Noah even caught on to that, and Noah says he worked it out with a bit of thought. Later Noah informs the kids they can head back to their families, but they disclose they were sold by their families for food and money. Noah gets they will get sold again if they return to their families, so he chooses to shelter them, and he tells Dylan to sort out food, shelter and education for them. The kids ask if he is purchasing them, and he assures them they can leave whenever they want. So the kids gaze at him in surprise, and they thank him after grasping how kind he is. Later Noah calls Evelyn to his office, and informs her he needs her to manage a small region of Almeria. Evelyn observes this will be a huge promotion for a maid, but she still hopes to stay on for him as a maid. Noah explains he needs her to serve for him as an administrator, so the people will see he is an excellent judge of spotting great talent. Evelyn takes the job when she grasps it will benefit him, and surely comments he outshines the first prince in using people to use. But Noah advises her she shouldn't blurt this out loud. Later the Emperor lauds Noah for upholding Gilbert's honor, and Noah gets Gilbert told the Emperor himself, so the Emperor assumes he has no hand in underground slave trading. The Emperor inquires if Noah got hurt when the slave traders jumped him. Noah replies he wiped out them easily, and the Emperor comments if it was him, he would have let them beat him, and then unveil his true identity. The First Minister states it would be a crime against the imperial family, but Noah informs him it won't as per the law, since the criminal does not know the Emperor's identity. Noah ponders if he overstepped, since it might come across as rude to the Emperor. So he decides he should apologize, but the Emperor chuckles. And Noah finds out the Emperor was running a bet with the Prime Minister. They aim to check if Noah knew the law, as Noah puzzles why they chose to do that. The Emperor names Noah as the Minister of Justice, and all the nobles present there start to cheer for him. Later Noah takes an Alaki's performance, and he ponders why he got picked as the minister. After becoming a minister, Noah goes to the Ministry of Justice to take his position. The Vice Minister of Justice Viney Ossie introduces himself to Noah. When Noah asks him about his own duties, Viney explains he has two main tasks. First, coordinating between all the courthouses in the empire, and second, judging serious crimes like rebellion. Noah understands that the ministry also acts like a common courthouse, and asks Viney how much he takes in bribes. Viney initially tries to deny it, but when Noah assures him he won't punish him, Viney confesses that he takes bribes for minor cases, but never for a murder case. To stop his bribery, Noah signs a check giving him 10 times his annual bribe amount. Viney is very impressed by Noah's understanding. He refuses to take the money, and promises not to take bribes anymore. Noah is suspicious of his intentions, but when he notices a change in his stats, he decides to trust him. At night, Noah goes to Oscar's palace, who has hosted a small banquet to celebrate Noah becoming a minister. Oscar mentions that he is the second prince after Henry to become a minister, so Noah asks why the emperor has suddenly decided to make them ministers. He understands Henry was made a minister because he ended the rebellion, but he doesn't understand the reason for his own appointment. Noah tells Oscar that in the past, all state responsibilities were given to the crown prince, leading the other princes to spend their time partying all night. And to educate them, all princes are now given the responsibility of managing their own fiefs. Noah feels the reason for making him a minister isn't just education, which makes Oscar think the emperor's intention is to make him the crown prince. Just then, a servant gives Oscar some news, and he learns that the emperor is going to make him the minister of finance. Noah thinks all this is happening because of Crown Prince Albert. In a room in the palace, some of Albert's associates were plotting a rebellion against the emperor, but the emperor already knew about it, so he sent his soldiers and arrested them. The prime minister informs the emperor that they have captured all the rebels, and they confess their intention was to make the crown prince the emperor. The emperor doesn't want to punish Albert for this, because he realizes Albert is tired of waiting for 20 years. When the emperor asks if the news was delivered to Oscar, the minister says it was, but Oscar already had a hint because Noah was also present with him. The emperor realizes Noah must have sensed his intentions because he is very smart. He has decided that Gilbert and Albert are not worthy to be his successors, so whoever succeeds in his trials will be made his successor. Viney gives Noah a list of everyone involved in the rebellion, and Noah notes that they all work for Albert, making it easy to understand that Albert planned the rebellion. Viney asks Noah what he will do, and Noah notes that the decision won't be easy because, according to the law, the punishment for rebellion is death by cutting in half, even if the guilty person is from the royal family. However, Noah is also worried that if the crown prince is punished, the foundations of the empire will shake. Before making a decision, Noah asks Viney for the emperor's wish, and when Viney says the emperor asked him to decide according to the law, Noah makes his decision. Noah meets the emperor and tells him he has decided to eliminate everyone on the list. He notes that the emperor didn't include Albert's name on the list, because he doesn't want to punish him. The emperor likes Noah's decision, so he increases Noah's salary, which completely assures Noah that the emperor does not want to punish Albert. Afterward, when Noah returns to his ministry, he finds his guards lying injured on the ground. He asks them about the attackers, and a guard says some people attacked them and are still inside. Noah immediately draws his sword and orders Shirley not to let anyone in or out of the palace. Then he goes in alone to deal with the intruders. He spots one intruder, whom Noah injures with his sword, and then he covers his mouth so he can't swallow poison. 3 more intruders arrive, and Noah defeats them too without any trouble. Then Viney arrives and tells Noah that all the intruders have been killed. Noah realizes the intruders were sent by Albert, so he wounds himself with his sword, blames the unconscious intruders for the injury, and orders Viney to execute them immediately to cover up the matter. Later, doctors are called, and the wound is treated, and Viney informs him that the other intruders have been eliminated. The emperor calls Noah as soon as the emperor hears about this. He can't believe anyone could wound Noah, so he asks if they were really that capable. Noah knows the emperor's spy network must have told him the whole truth, so he gives a vague answer to avoid the question. The emperor likes Noah's answer and wishes all his sons were like him. The emperor takes Noah outside to talk. He says that most emperors in their empire have lost their honor in the final years of their lives. Noah understands he is worried about the rebellion. If the rebellion had succeeded, people would mock him, saying he couldn't even control his own sons, but because of this fear, he also can't punish the crown prince. Noah suggests making Albert the prime minister prince, who would coordinate between the 3 minister brothers. The emperor doesn't like Noah's suggestion, So Noah explains that Albert has become restless after waiting for 20 years to succeed him. So if he gives him a position above those 3 brothers, he will calm down. The emperor is worried that Albert will interfere with their work, so Noah suggests that every prince should have the right to appeal directly to the emperor, which will prevent the crown prince from acting arbitrarily. The emperor really likes Noah's suggestion and once again wishes Noah had been born earlier. The emperor wants to reward Noah, so he takes him to the treasure room and tells him to take whatever he likes. Noah asks Leviathan to search for something special, and Leviathan starts scanning the room like a radar. Leviathan directs Noah toward a small box kept there, and as soon as he opens it, Noah is covered in a golden light. That tiny box is actually a legendary weapon called Ludier, who takes the form of his robot-like body. He attacks Noah with fire, and Noah counterattacks with Leviathan, which subdues Ludier, making him turn into a ring. Noah puts on the ring and notices his fire stats have increased. The emperor praises Noah for choosing and subduing Ludier. They step outside to check out Ludier's power. Noah then attacks himself with Ludier's fire, and protects himself with Leviathan's water. Ludier's fire can't hurt Noah, so he figures Leviathan is stronger than Ludier. When the test is over, there's a deep pit around Noah from Ludier's fire, but Noah doesn't even have a scratch. The emperor is shocked that Noah mastered Ludier's power so quickly and hopes Noah will use his power for good. The next day, the emperor calls Noah to discuss a serious issue. He says his nephew rules his domain like an evil lord, and killed a person in an argument yesterday. Now his father Graham wants to save him from punishment, and is ready to pay a lot of money as compensation. Noah says, according to the law, a father cannot be punished for his son, so they can't accept Graham's fine. The emperor asks if they should change the rules, as the royal treasury is pretty empty from stopping rebellions everywhere, and needs to be refilled. Noah explains that if they do that, the rich will think they can escape any legal punishment by paying money. This will weaken the law and encourage corruption in the state. The emperor understands Noah's point, and he signed order to make him his premier advisor. Noah notes that this is an honorary post, which sparks an idea in his mind. He advises the emperor to grant honorary titles to people in exchange for money, because when people get richer, they are ready to spend any amount of money to gain respect, and getting a title from the emperor would be a matter of great pride. The emperor really likes Noah's suggestion. He immediately sends crews to bring Prince Oscar. Noah feels it wouldn't be right for him to be there after Oscar arrives, so he takes the emperor's permission and leaves. Outside, he sees some servants observing the pit made by Ludier, and the servant Jesus says they can't figure out how the ground melted. Noah asks what he has in his hand, and Jesus says he is carrying the 16th prince's belonging. The prince enjoys making bugs fight each other. Noah likes the idea of making them fight, so he asks Leviathan and Ludier to come out, and starts making them fight each other. Noah notes they have all the techniques of their previous owners, but Leviathan is stronger than Ludier. His mate really likes the fight, so Noah makes them fight again, and notices his level has increased from their fighting. So Noah keeps making them fight. After losing many times, Ludier finally defeats Leviathan, and Noah notes that his fire status has increased. Noah asks Zoe to give him a buff spell, which makes Noah's level go up to 3. Noah says this is the result of making Ludier and Leviathan fight, which makes Zoe think he can easily increase his level this way. Noah says increasing the level is getting harder in this way, because he only had to make them fight once to reach level 2, but to reach level 3, he had to make them fight more than 10 times. Noah thinks he needs more such items to make them fight each other. His brother Henry comes looking for him. He tells Noah they have prepared the monster nest, and now he has to go on his first campaign. Noah notes the monster nest is a hunting ground managed by Henry's ministry for the training of the princes. Henry gives Noah a box to open, and to find out how many soldiers he'll need to take with him. Noah opens the box, and a slip with the number 1 written on it comes out, which means Noah doesn't need any soldiers. Henry is surprised by Noah's capabilities, as this has never happened before. Later, when Noah is sitting in his room, Zoe informs him that Rice has brought a message from the emperor. Noah calls him in and bows before him because the messenger is also like a proxy of the emperor. Rice says his campaign has been postponed for some time. After delivering the message, Rice immediately bows and greets Noah. Noah asks for the reason for the campaign being postponed. Rice says the emperor is very pleased with the results of his reading and wants to do his campaign on a grand scale, so that Noah's virtues are spread throughout the entire empire. Noah understands that his campaign won't be happening for a long time, so he goes to the shop to buy a living item like Leviathan. The shopkeeper says he doesn't have any such item right now, but Noah rewards him with money anyway and asks him to inform him when an item arrives. Noah comes out of the shop and heads towards the market. There he sees a man beating a shopkeeper on the street. There are many people on the road, but no one tries to stop him. Noah asks him the reason for beating the shopkeeper. The man looks at Noah and knows Noah is a prince. But he isn't afraid of him at all because he works for the first prince, Gilbert. The man is very arrogant and says that according to the law, he cannot be punished in these matters because he works for a prince. Noah gets very angry at his arrogant behavior and reminds him that he is a prince's servant, yet he did not bow to him. The man realizes he insulted the prince, but before he can say anything, Noah orders Shirley to catch him. Shirley grabs him and throws him to the ground, then ties him to a wooden pole in the middle of the market. Noah accuses him of insulting his and Gilbert's name, and gives him the death penalty for it. Noah leaves after giving the punishment, and sits somewhere waiting for Shirley. Shirley comes and says she finished off the man. Then Noah asks her to bring handcuffs, and goes to the first Prince Gilbert's palace wearing those. Gilbert's butler Coyle takes them inside to meet Gilbert. Noah meets Gilbert and tells him everything, apologizing for punishing his man without consulting him. Gilbert doesn't remember the man, so Coyle says he had only started working in their ministry, the imperial household, a few years ago. Gilbert understands who they are talking about. He says he had fired him from the job and that Noah saved his honor by punishing him. Gilbert unlocks Noah's handcuffs, and Noah thanks him for forgiving him. Then they come outside. Shirley asks him why he apologized. Noah says Gilbert was pretending to be calm, but he was very angry. He could have used this matter against him, but since Noah already apologized, he can't do anything now. Shirley understands his point, and Noah says Gilbert sees him as an enemy. The next day, a servant named Don Orts, who works in the imperial household ministry, comes to meet Noah. He requests to work for Noah. Noah says he won't be able to work in his ministry, but Don says he is ready to do anything, so Noah agrees to hire him. However, Noah finds something suspicious about Don, so after he leaves, he orders Dylan to thoroughly investigate his background. The next day, Dylan comes in to give a report on Don. He mentions that Don and his parents used to work for Prince Gilbert, which makes Dylan sure that Gilbert sent Don here to spy. Noah already had a feeling about this, because his stats hadn't bumped up at all, even after Don was hired. Noah tells Dylan to keep it a secret, because now he wants to use Don to his advantage. Dylan then says that Bradley's store found something super special for him, and the shopkeeper wants to meet. So Noah invites the shopkeeper over, who shows him a weird-looking painting of a girl. The shopkeeper calls the painting Huawa, and says it's not just any ordinary painting. Noah gets close and immediately knows it is cursed. The shopkeeper then shows him a replica of the painting that was made at the same time as the original. Noah checks out both and realizes the girl in the real painting looks older. He gets a strange vibe from the painting, so he tries to slice it with Leviathan. But the painting is fine. Instead, the girl in it becomes alive, and pops right out of the frame in front of them. The girl says something to Noah in her language, and Noah figures the painting was made with the girl's blood, and the painter killed her when she was a kid. The girl wants to thank Noah for setting her free, so Noah asks her to become his servant. She agrees to be his servant, and Noah notices his earth magic stats just went up. Huawa then tells Noah about her power, and when Noah asks her to show off, she transforms into the shopkeeper. Noah touches Huawa with his ring, then asks the shopkeeper to touch her. The shopkeeper touches her with both hands, but one of his hands goes right through her. Noah figures Huawa's physical form is because she's linked to his armor ring. He buys Huawa from the shopkeeper for whatever price he asks for. Later, Byron brings some stuff to Noah's palace which he says is a thank you gift from Ada. Noah notes that Ada is the girl Byron picked, and Noah sent her to work as a servant in the royal palace, and now she's an attendant of the emperor. Byron wants Ada to become the emperor's wife, and Noah notes there are 4 ranks of consorts, attendants at the bottom, then concubines, then wife, and the emperor's legal wife at the very top. Noah's mom became a wife when Noah got the title of wise. Byron hopes Ada can get the wife status by earning the emperor's favor, but Noah explains that getting favor isn't enough. You also have to watch out for the politics among the consorts. Like if someone switches Ada's perfume for one the emperor hates. So Ada needs protection from the palace's backroom dealings, and Noah tells Byron to send her some cash right away. Byron thanks Noah for the tip, and leaves to see Ada. Next, Noah gives Zoe some money and a letter to take to his mother. Zoe says Dylan would be better for taking a letter to the palace, but Noah explains that men can't go to the part of the palace where his mother lives, which is why he only gets to see her once a year. He asks Zoe to pass on the message that he wants his mother to be Ada's guardian. Zoe is surprised Noah's using his mom in politics, so he explains that if Ada succeeds in becoming a wife, she could be helpful to them. Zoe realizes Noah's life is all politics, and she starts heading off with the message. Noah asks her how her mom is doing. Zoe says her mom is grateful for his help, but is holding back from saying something. Noah pushes her to talk, and she spills that her mom saw a random guy outside the palace yesterday. Noah tells her to keep it quiet cause he wants to check it out on his own. The next night, he hides in the bushes with Zoe and her mother, then sends Huawei to close the door in his mother's place. Suddenly the guy sneaks up, grabs her from behind, and stabs a pin into her neck to kill her. The man is Don, Gilbert's servant. He bolts after the job is done, and Noah sees it all from the bushes. He figures Don thought Zoe's mom saw him going into the palace, so he decided to kill her. Then Noah tells Zoe to fake burying her mother's body in their village, because she could be targeted again if she stays here. Both mom and daughter thank him for saving their lives. Zoe asks if he'll do anything about Don, and Noah says he's got Huawei tracking him. Don reports killing the woman to his boss, who then stabs him in the gut to kill him. The boss throws Don into the river, but Huawei is there to save him. The next day, Don wakes up in an empty room, where Noah is sitting patiently for him to open his eyes. Noah reminds him of everything that went down last night, and explains that he was thrown out like trash for failing as a spy. Don is shocked Noah had planned so far ahead. He realizes Gilbert doesn't care about his servants, and he truly wants to be Noah's servant now. Noah agrees to give him another shot at serving him, but warns him that the punishment for double-crossing him will be brutal. Don gets emotional and cries over Noah's kindness, swearing to be his servant for life. Noah notes that his win stat has increased, which confirms Don has really accepted him as his master. Noah decides to send Don to work in Almeria, with a new name and identity until things quiet down. Don wants to thank Noah, so he tells him about a gift Gilbert gave the emperor, which freaks Noah out. Noah immediately goes to the emperor, and begs him not to drink the Poinix wine. The emperor asks why, since Gilbert has been sending it as a gift since last year. Noah says that if it's eaten with a specific dish, it becomes poison. That special dish is dragon claw, which the emperor and the crown prince eat together once a year. He has been drinking that wine with the crown prince since last year, which suggests the wine is not poisonous. That's why if they die after drinking the wine, no one will figure out the cause of their death. The emperor gets Noah's point, but asks him to prove the poison thing to be sure. Noah says that a death row prisoner was given both to eat together, and he died instantly. The emperor is convinced Noah is telling the truth, and praises him for exposing the plot. The emperor immediately orders knights to search Gilbert's palace. The knights question Gilbert's servants, which reveals proof that the poisonous wine was tested on illegal slaves, and Gilbert is arrested for planning to kill the emperor. But something feels off to Noah. The emperor knows everything through his spies, so why didn't he know about this? Suddenly, Noah realizes the emperor knew all along, and the emperor confirms it, saying he wasn't drinking the wine. He He understands the princes are getting impatient for the throne, but he doesn't see Noah as being like them. That's why he makes him the Vice Minister of Military Affairs, and also gives him the title of Imperial Guard. Noah thanks the Emperor, but doesn't get why he's doing all this. The Emperor reads his mind, and says that if his sons manage to kill him, he wants Noah to take control of the capital with the help of the Imperial Guards, and make a suitable prince the next emperor. Noah is totally stunned to hear this cause that's a massive responsibility. Next day Noah talks to the Emperor to sort out Gilbert's sentence, and he spills they have proof of plot to murder the Emperor inside Gilbert's mansion. So the Emperor tells Noah to figure out his punishment. Noah says his crime is treason according to the law, so they gotta hand him a death sentence. But he points out Gilbert can score a stay of execution, so his sentence goes down when the Emperor gives the word. Albert grills why he wants to overcomplicate the matter, but the Emperor digs Noah's advice since he viewed it from legal and emotional perspective. Noah sees the Emperor still loves Gilbert, so it is too tough on him to execute him, therefore he gave him an option to skip killing him. But Albert pushes the Emperor to hand Gilbert immediate execution, and the Emperor decides to wash his hands of this. Albert bolts after getting the order to execute Gilbert. The Emperor then showers praise on Noah for showing consideration in these circumstances, and he wants to hand over Gilbert's territory to him. But Noah immediately warns him he shouldn't, since he was the one who told him about Gilbert's plot. He fears other princes will start setting up each other to snag the same reward. The Emperor figures it won't be a good thing, so he opts not to reward him this time, but he tells him to get cracking on finding his future wife. Noah notes engagement is normal at this age in the imperial family, and the first wife is picked for political reasons, so the prince has no say in who he gets hitched to. The Emperor floats the granddaughter of his uncle, and Noah signs up to take her as his legal wife. After Noah jumps out of the hall, the Prime Minister confesses he is wowed by Noah, since he agreed to the wedding without meeting the girl. Next day Noah summons Don to his mansion. Don grovels for forgiveness, since he thought he was gonna whack him for ratting on Gilbert. But Noah calms him he won't whack him, he lets him know Gilbert is executed, so now he doesn't need to leave the capital. Noah also chooses to award him a huge reward, since he exposed the plot to kill his father. Don is shocked Noah gives a rip so much about his father, and he swears to follow his every command. Then Noah calls Zoe to the hall, and fills her in her mother is safe. So Zoe gives him props for looking out for them. Later Noah heads to the market to grab some items. There he spots a crowd chilling on the street, so he figures he'd check out what's up. They spot a young girl is throwing down a challenge to people for a fight, and she is dishing out herself as a reward if they clobber her. A muscular man jumps at her challenge. He tries to smack her in the face, but she flings him on the ground, and snags 3 coins as entry fees. Dozens of men take on her challenge, and she winds up beating them all. Then a man takes on her challenge, who is convinced he will bag the fight. He pulls off landing a critical hit, and snags her as a reward. But Noah tells him he blew off the rule. As he lays out he leaned on outside help to toss a numbing drug on her. Noah then uses Leviathan's power to sniff out the person who assisted him, so he must admit he cheated. The man swings at Noah for wrecking his plan, so Noah whips out Leviathan in his hands, and wrecks the man without much effort. The man then scrams with his friend, and Noah takes the girl to a cafe. The girl comes to after some time, and the waitress fills her in how he saved her life. Noah tells her how the man pulled a fast one with his friend, and he pushes her on why she was fighting people. The girl notes she showed up here for the night selection exam, but now she is out of money. Noah can't buy the story she bombed the exam, so she spills the beans to him. She was called up by this year's head judge, the 10th prince, who pressured her to hook up with him in order to move up. Noah figures the 10th prince would pull such things, so he hands her money so she can stick around here until the next exam. The girl takes the money, and she ponders about Noah's identity. Just then the cheater shows up there with his men to trash Noah, and Noah's fire ring is itching for a fight with those men. So Noah hooks it up with his armor ring, which whips up burning shields on his hands. Then Noah starts clobbering the goons with his fire shields, and clobbers that man who tried to cheat. After clobbering all the goons, Noah quizzes the knight of the 10th prince if he is gonna fight him. The knight immediately grovels for forgiveness, and Noah figures out the goons were sent by the prince to hassle the girl, but he opts to let them go this time. The girls figure out Noah is the famous wise prince, and an old man starts to gush about Noah, so Noah ponders who he could be. Noah spots the golden gourd beside the man, and immediately figures out the guy is the famous lightning prince. Noah points out the empire was in chaos decades ago, since the current emperor was too young when he took the throne. So the lightning prince ran the show of the entire empire, and handed it back after fixing it up. He bagged the title of lighting prince for his role, and stepped down from his territory without any arguments. The prince grills Noah if he knows why he came to the capital. Noah says he showed up to size up him for his granddaughter. Noah ponders what he will pull if he deems him unsuitable for his granddaughter, and the prince swears he will block him marrying her. But Noah reckons he can't stop it since it is an imperial command. So the prince states her marriage is a personal matter for him, and he will fight even the emperor's decision. He would even slug the emperor if he is pulling something wrong. Noah figures out the prince doesn't care about getting power, and he quizzes if he made the cut. The prince then moves to test him, and Noah starts to feel a crushing pressure. So he fights it off with Leviathan's power, and now the prince starts feeling the squeeze. Noah halts before laying on too much pressure, since he doesn't want to rough up his future grandfather. Their power struggle wraps up in a tie, but the prince cops to losing since he knows Noah held back. He okays the marriage with his granddaughter, and calls for wine for everyone in the town. He then hands a ring to Noah as an engagement gift, which is an item that is set to test Noah's strength. It whisks Noah to a field, and blasts at him with full speed. Noah whips out Leviathan in his hand, and wrecks the item with a single strike. He then notices his light status shot up. The item informs him its name is Behemoth, who chooses to give up to Noah. Noah then slips the ring on his finger, and flips the normal cattle into gold with Behemoth's power. The prince chuckles since even he couldn't conquer Behemoth over, but Noah nailed it effortlessly. He wants to check out its figure, so Noah whips one up with his other rings. He then flashes him the statues of all the powerful rings he has. All the 4 elements huddle in one spot, and they starts to blaze in a bright light. Noah feels like he's in another world, where he sees the forms of his 3 rings speaking, telling him they will soon gain their full power. Noah returns to his own world, thinking it was some kind of illusion. But he sees that everyone present also heard the voices of his rings, and the prince says he heard the voice too. So Noah tells Gigi to reward everyone present. Gigi starts distributing money as a reward. The girl watches her do this, which convinces her that Noah is a high-ranking noble. Therefore, she expresses her wish to become Noah's knight. She asks Noah to take back the money he gave her, as she wants to prove herself by covering her own expenses. Noah likes the girl's style but refuses to take back the money he gave. He explains that a knight should accept the help given by their lord, and try to give back more than that help. So the girl changes her mind about returning Noah's aid. Prince Indra is quite pleased with Noah's cleverness. Just then, the emperor arrives while touring the market, and everyone kneels before him. The emperor asks Indra for his granddaughter's hand for Noah. Noah is worried about the emperor's safety, and he immediately scans the crowd with the power of his rings to detect anyone with bad intentions. But everyone there only holds respect for the emperor. So they sit down to talk. The emperor tells Indra that Noah is a very wise prince, and that he has decided to send him alone on his first campaign. The crowd is surprised to hear this because usually, excellent soldiers are sent with princes. Noah notes that the crowd's attention is focused on him, so he thinks this is a good opportunity to escort the emperor. However, he understands that the emperor deliberately created this opportunity, and the emperor is happy that Noah is worried about escorting him. Indra is even more pleased with Noah's cleverness, and he decides to give his granddaughter's hand to him. To discuss further matters, the emperor and Indra sit in the carriage. Noah starts walking alongside the carriage, and has Luthier display his power so that no one in the crowd can hear the emperor's conversation. The emperor tells Indra that he is thinking of disinheriting the crown prince, because he does not consider him worthy of the throne. Indra asks why he thinks so, and the Emperor says that what Albert did to Gilbert seems wrong to him. Noah notes that the Emperor did not want to kill Gilbert, but the Crown Prince hurt the Emperor by killing him. The Emperor is also worried that if Albert becomes the Emperor, he will target Noah and the other princes, which is why he is even more against Albert becoming the Emperor. Indra asks who he wants to make the Crown Prince. But the Emperor has not decided yet, so Indra tells him to decide quickly because he is very old. The Emperor says he has selected the new Crown Prince, but does not want to announce it yet. So Noah suggests he write the name of the new Crown Prince in his will, but Indra says anyone can change the will after the Emperor dies. Therefore, Noah advises hiding the will within the Emperor's body so that no one can tamper with it. The Emperor and Indra really like Noah's suggestion, and decide to hide the will in the Emperor's body. After reaching his palace, the Emperor orders all servants to leave. Only one servant remains there who cannot hear, speak, or write. Noah tells the Emperor to take back the full command of his military, which will also bring the power of his and Henry's ministries back to him. Indra finds Noah's suggestion right and praises Noah for returning his ministry. So the Emperor releases Noah from his position as Governor General, and sends the order to take back Henry's ministry. Then Indra asks how he will disinherit the Crown Prince. Noah explains that, according to the law, the Emperor can change his successor at his will. So the Emperor decides he will declare Albert unfit to be his successor. Noah advises that he should give Albert a title so that he always remains just a prince. The Emperor likes his advice, and he starts writing the order to disinherit Albert. Indra sees that he is making many mistakes, and the Emperor says he feels sad about disinheriting Albert, which is why he is making mistakes repeatedly. Noah tells him to leave the mistakes as they are, so that Albert can realize his pain when he reads the order. So the Emperor makes the order with mistakes the official document. The Emperor gives the document to the servant to take away. The servant hesitates a little upon seeing the document. Noah notices this and immediately tells the Emperor that this servant can read. The servant tries to run away, but Noah throws him to the ground with the power of Leviathan. The Emperor angrily calls Cruz inside, and demands an explanation from him for hiring that deceitful servant. Cruz says he did not know about it. So the Emperor asks Noah to decide their punishment. Noah gives the immediate execution penalty to the deceitful servant and dismisses Cruz for 6 months. Indra asks if they should interrogate the servant to know his master's name. Noah starts thinking that his master might be a prince. Indra understands that knowing the master's name could cause trouble, so the Emperor approves Noah's decision. Later, the Prime Minister informs the Emperor of the servant's execution. The Emperor asks if he has heard the name Leviathan. The minister says he was a powerful sage, who helped the Emperor with his powers in the Silver Age. The Emperor says this time, Leviathan is helping Noah with his power, and he sees a lot of potential in Noah, so he wants to see what Noah will do next. The next day, Noah leaves for Albert's palace with the Emperor's message. When he reaches the palace, Albert personally comes to welcome him. Noah says he has come to talk to him about something, so Albert asks him to come to the garden with him. Noah orders Shirley to stay behind, to show that he trusts Albert. Noah goes with Albert to his garden, and likes a 2-mouthed tree planted in there. Albert says it is a very expensive tree and gives the tree as a gift to Noah. Noah accepts his gift. Then he tells Albert that this year the Emperor will take him along on his trip to the north. Every year, the Emperor spends time in the north to escape the heat, and during that time, Albert handles all the affairs of the state in place of the Emperor. Albert senses the Emperor's intentions, so he asks Noah to tell him everything clearly. Noah says the Emperor wants to take him along and educate him, and nothing else has been told to him. Hearing Noah's words, Albert thanks him and then leaves him alone and goes away. After leaving Albert's palace, Noah goes to listen to Alaki's song. That night, Alaki sings a new song for him, in which she thanks Noah for his help. After listening to the song, Noah returns to the palace late at night. There, Zoe tells him that a woman named Olivia is waiting to meet him. Noah feels that Olivia must have something important to say, so he calls her inside. Zoe brings Olivia inside, who tells him that Albert has prepared a very large army and is going to seize the throne from the Emperor tonight.